Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Before we jump into the price action, I'd just like to say thank you for watching. If you are enjoying the content, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Okay, so let's have a look at what we got here. So basically we're still looking for this this potential to move up towards this 2092 range. We need to actually get a move on with this now. I don't really like the way the structure's forming. I want to see some nice impulsive moves here to confirm that we actually have this structure in place. The alternative thing we need to just be aware of is there is always the potential that we could count this slightly different, where we count this as a five-wave move in here. This becomes a bigger three-wave move, and then we actually look to push up from that point, looking for something like this to play out. So this is just what we want to see if we're looking for that continuation up. It is also possible, that we have had our fifth wave in this into this high here at this 1842, and this whole move here is just a corrective move, and we could still be looking to come back down into those lower support zones that we talked about previously. So the primary one here is at the 1722 to the 1657, and then the lower one would be towards this 1643 to this 1458 range. So this is just something that we're keeping an eye on. These are going to be our key pivot points within this. We want to see whether we actually continue to maintain these zones and then look to move away from them. For as long as we continue to set higher highs here and higher lows, potentially we can be looking for, this bigger continuation. So we were talking about a couple of things in the previous video. We were discussing the possibility that we could be breaking to the upside. And, we were talking about this lower zone here between this sort of 1804 to this 1739 area as a potential target range. So we did actually come down to that 1236, and we have actually started to move away from here. The problem is this is very choppy, this move here. So we just have to be careful that this isn't a corrective structure and we still actually come down one more time. So we're going to discuss that in a second. It is, however, possible we could actually be starting to move away from the zone and setting up some ones and twos in this. The way that I'd be currently looking at this would be potentially that this is actually a flat correction in this move here, and that we could actually be looking to push away. It did come down really deep though, so I'm being just cautious of that fact. And we do have a five-wave move here, which we haven't actually taken the high of. So we need to just, bear that in mind until we take this high of this 1839. We need to be careful of the fact that we could see, something like this play out, where we form either an ABC down or potentially a deeper move as a five-wave structure. So really, I'd want to see us get back above this 1838 range. And then on top of that, I'd want to get back above this high here, this B wave at this 1847. Otherwise, we still run the risk that, this could just be an A wave here, a B, and then we look to push down in a C. Or alternatively, within here, we'll discuss it in a second. But basically, there is a bearish count where we can count this whole move here as a 1, 2, and then look for that third wave down. So we need to just be careful of that fact. There are still potentials for some downside here. I want to see some moves to the upside here. Good impulsive structure, and taking out some of these key levels for us to start getting more bullish. So if we are looking for that direct breakout here, basically what I would be looking for is something like this. So this would be the only way that I could potentially count it at the moment. The problem is if we want to count this as a fourth and a fifth here, it is quite a big fourth wave in comparison to this wave 2. So I'm looking at this rather that this could have been a flat where this is A, B, and C, and we've come down for this flat correction, and now we're starting to look for this bigger move up here towards this zone of this 1869. Like I said as well, we need to be careful as long as we don't take this high here. We have that potential that we could still look to break down. So this is going to be a key zone here if we do break down. I actually need to change this now. Let me just put it onto here. Put this up into this high. If this move does break down directly from here and we should see a retracement, basically I'd want to find support above this 1783 area. And then we'd be looking at the potential that either this is the problem is it is also looking very much like a three-wave move. So this is why I'm being cautious with this. This could develop into something. It could become that we have this as a 1, a 2 here, then we form another 1, 2, find support above this line here. potentially in the zone here of this area of this eight above this 1810, and then look for continuation up. So this is what I'll be looking out for. At the moment, we just have a three-wave structure, so we need to be careful of it breaking down. But this would be sort of the zone we're looking for confirmation. This 1869. Want to see a nice clean five-wave structure up into here, and then finding support again for a fourth wave, and then looking to potentially push up towards this zone of this 1894 to this 1878. So that would be the ideal way this play out. We need to just be careful though, because like I said, I'm looking at this as a flat, but even within this move here, we could just have this, you know, as a corrective structure, and then this is the beginning of another leg down. So because of this is what we need to just be careful with when we get five-wave structures. Basically, they can extend to the downside or the upside. So this is why we always need to be cautious until we actually take the high points or the low points. So this would be potentially what I'd be looking for here, looking for this to become a bigger five-wave structure. If we do develop something like this, basically then what we'd be looking for would be to actually come back down and find support again in this zone of this 1822 to this 1788. So that would be coming back down. We'd want to see this move play out to the upside. Then we want to see whether we get a three-wave move back to the downside. Potentially this 50% could be quite an interesting area because we have these levels here. If it does come down lower, obviously the 1618 would be a retest of these bottoms here. This would be the sort of thing we'd want to see if we're looking for that continuation. And then that could be the fact that, this is 1, 2, we form another 1, 2 here, and then this starts to go. But if we do actually lose this low of this 1762, basically that would invalidate this possibility of this looking for a direct push to the upside, and we'd have to look at some of the other options. So we're going to go over those now. Basically, what I'm keeping an eye out for is whether this is not a completed move here. So let me just remove some of these. Basically, I was looking for rejection potentially lower down here, but we've actually come up higher, but we have actually interacted with the top of this channel. So I'm just being cautious that this could be looking at this move differently. We could look at this as a W into here. This is an X wave, or alternatively, this is an X wave. Either way works currently, and we could actually be looking, for a Y wave to the downside afterwards. So that Y wave 1 to 1 would actually be here at this 1774, and alternatively we have a target here. If I sort of push this up now, if this is an A wave, we don't take this high and we push down in a C wave, potentially we could still see a move down towards the 1766 area. Even if we do form a three-wave move up here, it is possible that we could still see a move to the downside in that Y wave, where this whole move here becomes an X wave. And what we'd be looking out for there, potentially, if we're going to look at it in this way, is we would have to say that this was an A wave here. So we've already come past that 1 to 1, basically within this area. So we've been rejected off this 1236 here. If we did move up to this 1382 at this 1844, I'd be looking to see if we get a rejection there. And then basically the higher zone would be this 1857. But I'm just keeping an eye on this because we have actually interacted with this top channel again. Potentially we could see something play out here where we even see, a pullback, push above, break back down, get rejected, and then look to see a move to the downside here again, looking for this Y wave target. If we do move down, my initial target would be the 1774, if this is what's playing out. And then if it does break down deeper here, potentially we could look for a retest of this channel. The lowest we'd want to come here, if I just remove this support box, if we're looking at this as a move that hasn't actually completed here, the lowest we'd want to come here is the 1715. Breaking below that 1715 area would not be good for the count, and basically, this could then basically roll over, and we look for a new low in comparison to this 1686. And then we'd have to watch those lower key support zones, which would be these ones here, this 1722 to the 1657, and then ultimately this lower one, you have the 1643 to this 1458. So there are some bearish counts here. Potentially as long as we continue to hold good structure here, we could look for continuation to the upside. But if we start to lose those zones, it's going to be important that we actually look to hold these lower zones. So primarily the 1715 to the 1772 will be a zone I'll be looking for support, and then if we lose that, we'll have those lower zones. But we need to just be careful. Like I said, until we actually take this high, there are a few ways of counting this move, and we discussed in yesterday's video that idea of looking at this as a diagonal for wave one, two, this is a third, fourth, and fifth. So if this is the case, we need to be open to the idea that we could still see something like this play out. For as long as we don't actually take this high, it would be very high retracement for a wave two, and not very likely, but sometimes these things do happen. So if we do see, a bigger move down here towards the 1723, and we don't actually take this high point of this 1839, potentially we could see a bigger rejection play out here where we get a third wave down, fourth wave, fifth wave. Then that would tie us in for getting an additional fourth and fifth wave here, potentially down into the 1686. If we do get a move down like this, we'd have to be cautious. So if we do get this move play out to the downside and we come back into this fifth wave area here, what we'd have to be aware of is a move above 1762 would invalidate this fourth and this fifth. So we'd want to stay below these levels. So we'd get a 5-wave move like this, 3-wave move up, staying below these levels, and then look for that continuation to the downside afterwards and another 5-wave move. So if we do break down like this, basically, it's going to be important to see whether we first off reach this 1618. If we do we get a fourth wave here that stays below this wave one? If it does, then we could get a fifth, fourth, and a fifth again. So the thing is, with the depth of this retracement, sometimes what can happen when we get deep retracements like this, if they do happen and it isn't an impulse, sometimes this wave 3 might actually extend out. So if it does do that, basically the next zone I'd be looking at would be potentially towards this 2618 area of this 1656. But we don't have any confirmation of that at the moment. Obviously, this is just speculative. And, we're right in the zone here. We could actually just move up and take these highs, and this would invalidate it. This whole potential would be invalidated by moving above 1847. So that's what I'm looking at here, if in the more bearish case here. And then obviously, if we did get a 5-wave move like that, we'd have to just be cautious, because I have talked about this previously, that we could still look at this as a flat as a wave two here. Um, it is very choppy in this upper area here, so just keeping an eye on things like this in case we are just setting up some series of ones and twos, and then next thing this breaks down in a deeper way where we get something like this: one, two, three, four, and a five. Then basically we'd get another fourth and a fifth from that structure at the top there, and then we'd be looking for another fourth and then a fifth to the downside. Something like this, where this whole move from here becomes one, two, one, two, one, two, three, four, five, four, five, four, five, and then we get a bigger move down. But yeah, I mean, this is just speculative at the moment. It's something that I'm just keeping an eye on. These things, they can just happen. And when they build up like this, sometimes it can be that quick turning point, and then we look to actually break down. But basically, as long as we hold this 1686, I am looking for that potential for continuation to the upside here. If we do break this 1686 rather, then those key support zones lower down are going to be the same here. The 1722 to the 1657. If we lose 1657, basically that would make it less likely that we have an additional 1-2 here. And then we'd be potentially looking for that potential, or looking for that idea of actually coming down deeper towards the 1643 to this 1458. And an interesting area, if we do move down into this zone, would be this channel to me. It's just sitting here, depending on how long this would take, obviously, would be towards this zone of the 1461. So that's what we're looking at in the sort of bigger picture here. By all means, we could be looking for this move to start to move away from here, but the current structure to the upside is looking corrective. So it is potentially indicating that, we could see something else play out. where either this is a W X, and we're looking for this Y wave to play down from here, where this is an A, B, and a C. Or alternatively, we could be looking still to complete this X wave in here, and we see a move up again a little, or even complete into this high, where this is A, B, C, and then we actually look to break down. The thing is, I would be cautious saying that this X wave is completed if this is the case, and we're getting something like this because of the size of this W wave. It would be more likely that, within this structure here, we would be seeing something like this ABC. Then, potentially we could see a three-wave move down, which finds support here again, and then we see some other kind of a three-wave move, so that it takes a bit longer and sort of matches the size of this first part of the wave. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. If it just starts to get really choppy here, then this is potentially what's playing out. We could just have a bigger corrective structure here where this is W, we're still forming an X wave. And then, what would happen is that this X wave would shift over, and then we could see something like this play out, where we get a bigger, more sideways move here. It is possible that the X wave is completed. Sometimes these can be a lot shorter than the other two waves, but I'd be looking out if this is playing out, basically to see something in comparison to this for the Y wave. Then, we want to see a sort of choppy move playing out here, something like this, maybe, come back down into these lower ranges. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. As well as that, there are affiliate links for both Primex, BT, and BYBIT down there, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you do not have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.